Thank you so much for joining today. We'll start today's practice by coming down into a constructive rest or seating comfortably in a chair. If you're taking a constructive rest, roll down onto your back. Bend the knees, letting the knees point up towards the ceiling. And then maybe they start to kiss towards center, allowing them to rest. If you're taking a seat, make sure your spine is long. Your hands and shoulders are resting. And I invite you to close your eyes or to simply soften your gaze wherever you're at today. I want to remind you that I am a guide and not the rule. I'm going to trust that during our practice today, you're taking care of yourself and not competing with yourself. Either the yourself of yesterday or even tomorrow's self. But instead that you're right here with today's self. We'll begin to allow our breath to find an easy flow, letting it become more intentional, smoother, maybe even calmer. Inhaling through the nose if it's available, and exhaling through the mouth. Letting this easy flow of air in and out fill your body. And we'll take a moment to check in with how you're really feeling today. Make sure you're honest with yourself. Take a moment to see if there's anywhere in your life that might feel out of balance. And then notice in the body and in the muscles and in the mind. Are you gripping or holding? And if so, see if it's possible to let go anymore. As we continue to lean in to that easy, intentional flow of your breath. Check in once more, asking how in your life you can find more balance. Maybe you're doing too much. Maybe giving too much. Maybe even receiving too much. How often are you blessed with a moment to pause and to reflect? We'll take that time together today. Time to soften, to expand, to fill up, and then to melt right where we are. Little joys are all around us, reminding us of the possibilities for happiness that are right here in our present moment. I always talk about joy and try to have my students pick something small, something that isn't obvious. Little joys. For me, things like how the sun warms my face when I walk outside, or even the sounds of birds as I walk to my car. They remind me that there's a thrill to being alive. And it's these little joys that we so often take for granted. Sometimes we miss them completely. Maybe we can make a commitment this week to open our eyes to what's around us. Open our ears to the little sounds that surround us. And open our hearts to the little joys that are everywhere. Maybe when we go on a walk outside, taking a moment to close our eyes and listen to the sounds, to feel the sun and the wind. Joy is here. Joy is waiting for you. We'll continue to take those slow, intentional breaths. As we take one last scan of the body, we notice any aches or pains today, bringing them into our mind, not for judgment. And so we can be aware of this present day in the body. We'll take a moment to offer ourselves a little bit of gratitude that we took time out of our busy day to slow things down. And then we'll start to wiggle fingers and toes. We'll begin to flutter the eyes open. And then let's go ahead and curl into a ball. So if you're on the floor, bring the knees up towards your chest. And if you're seated in your chair, we're going to roll and start to curl down through the spine, bringing our hands either onto our legs or even down a little bit further. As we round through the neck here, if you're on the ground, maybe you're rocking and rolling just a little bit. And then either on the floor or on this chair, go ahead and lengthen the spine back out. If you're laying on the floor, we're gonna, well, either variation, we're going to start to take some knee circles. If you're on the floor, you can do both knees at the same time. And if we're on the ground, on this chair, we're gonna do one leg and then switch to the other leg. So whichever variation you're choosing, let's start to take some of those knee circles. You can rotate them together or separate, depending on how you're feeling in this moment, but simply noticing what's happening through the hips, through the glutes and the lower back as we start to make these knee circles. All right, go ahead and give your hips just a little bit of break and then go into some ankle circles, lifting one foot if you're in the chair and then the other rotating through the ankles. Making sure to reverse your circle after a few circles. All right, if you're on the ground, go ahead and bring both feet back to the mat in your constructive rest. And if you're seated in the chair, both feet back on the mat in your seated mountain. We're going to take a penguin stretch here. And with the penguin stretch, we take our right hand and we reach it down towards our right ankle, crunching through the side body. We come back through center. We take that on the left side. If you're seated in the chair, you may not come anywhere near your ankle, but it's more like a crunching towards either side, reaching down. Be conscious of this movement, that you're feeling the abdominals and the oblique muscles crunching as you move slowly with your breath, left to right, left to right. Beautiful job. One more time on each side. And then go ahead and pause through center. You're seated in the chair. We're going to stay in our seated mountain. For on the floor, we're going to bring a block. And then as we inhale, start to lift the hips up and bring the hips onto the block in a bridge pose. From here, whether you're seated in your seated mountain or on the block in bridge pose, we're going to start to lift our right foot and point it up in front of us, either in front of us towards the ceiling, or if you're in the chair, you can point it in front of you in the chair. And while we're here, we're going to point and flex the toes a little bit. Now you can always hold behind your leg, or you can use a strap. You could also simply rest your foot on a prop further away from you as well here. All righty. We're going to stay with that same side, but we're going to play with lifting and lowering the leg. So as you exhale, slowly lower the leg back down to the ground. And then with your inhale, lift it up as high as it goes. Really feel this through the quad muscles here. Take it at your own pace, lifting it up, exhaling to lower it down. Great job. Inhale up, exhale to lower it down. Great job. With our next inhale, curl the knee in towards the chest one more time, and then let the knee fall out to the right. Opening up through that inner hip just a little bit. If you're on the floor, you can support the leg with your hand, or you could use your strap as well. Great job. Come back through center, and then we'll set the right foot down and start to lift the left leg up. We'll take this moment here to point and flex the toes a couple times. And then let's start to take that lift and lower. So inhale up as high as it goes. Exhale down. Now your leg, extended leg, can always be straight as can be, or can have a little bending. You're doing great. We're going to do this for just a couple of cycles of breath. Keep your spine straight, whether you're seated or on the mat. If you're on the mat, you're in that back bend more than a straight spine though. All right, last time. And then bend the knee, curl it in towards your torso. And then we're going to open it out to the left side. Great job. We'll bring that leg back through center. And then if you're on the floor, inhale to lift, bringing the block out from underneath your hips. And then lower to roll back down into your constructive rest. And from here, we'll find our way into a seated position. Always welcome to bring a block or a prop under your hips, or stay seated in your chair. Alrighty. If you're coming into an easy seated position, that could be crisscross applesauce or any position that makes your legs feel comfortable seated. And we'll start to take some torso circles here. Going around in one direction a couple of times, really allowing your shoulders and spine to get involved in this. So pulling it back on your exhale, rounding it forward on your inhale. All right, and then go ahead and reverse those circles, going about the same amount of times around. Maybe finding a way to change it up and make it feel just a little bit different. All right, go ahead and come back through center. Now, if you took a crisscross applesauce with the legs, go ahead and cross them in the opposite way. And then we're going to grab our strap in our right hand. You're always welcome to do this pose without a strap if you're not using one today. But if you have one today, go ahead and reach that strap up. And then with an exhale, we're going to drop it down the spine. Now we're going to take that bottom hand, that left hand, and begin to reach it up the spine, grabbing on the strap. And then go ahead and walk those fingers towards each other a little or a lot. Come and take this lovely cow face pose. Great job. Now, if you're doing it without the strap, you can simply hold on to the back of your shirt, one at the bottom, one at the top, or you can grab on anywhere on the right arm with the left hand. So we have a few different options there. All right, if you're taking the strap variation, we're going to drop the strap out of our right hand so that it's only in our left hand, the bottom hand, and then we're going to switch it around. So we take the left hand up and down, and then we take that right hand around and start to walk it up the strap. Keeping your spine straight. Make sure you're not rounding or tucking the chin. You're doing great. Noticing how this feels through our shoulders, through our spine. All right, next exhale, release the left hand and then the right. Beautiful job. Alrighty, from here, we're going to send our legs long, either into a straight-legged position or with a slight bend into the knees. And we're going to do a rock the baby leg. So you can grab on your foot or knee. You can grab your strap and wrap it around your foot or any other variation. But we're going to start to rock that right leg left to right. Getting into those hips and getting everything nice and warmed up for our standing practice today. After a few cycles of left to right, if you want to bring a hand down by your outer hip and rock onto the side or back onto the glute, that can feel really nice as an addition as well. All right, now wherever you're at, go ahead and pause and start to send your right leg out long into a heron's pose. So we're going to lift it a little bit higher than we were before. Knee can be bent or straight, noticing it through the back of the leg. And then with an exhale, we're going to release our grip and see how slow and controlled with our abs we can lower that foot back down to the ground. Great job. Take any movement. And then let's rock the baby on the other side, grabbing foot and knee, and start to rock left to right, or just foot. If at some point you want to roll onto the outer hip by placing your left hand down to the ground, you are welcome to do that. All righty, Karen's pose. Inhaling, extending that left leg long in front of you at a 45-ish degree angle from your hips. Keep the spine straight. Exhale, we begin to lower that foot as slowly as we can. Once it reaches the ground, take any movement you want. Alrighty, if you're on your mat, we're gonna come into a hero's pose. Tucking the toes, welcome to bring a prop here as well under the hips. And then we're either gonna sit back on the hips or stand on the knees, but we wanna get a little stretch through the feet here in our hero's pose. If we're on our chair, we're just gonna take it one side at a time. So we scoot over to that right side. And then take the right foot back, tucking the toes and drawing your knee down towards the mat. Alrighty, let's take our right hand and put the palm away from us and extending the arm in front of us. We're gonna take individual finger stretches here. So as we inhale, we pull back one finger, and as we exhale, we release it. We're gonna move through each of our fingers on the right hand, one at a time, matching the breath to the movement. Once you reach the thumb, instead of pulling down, pull out to the side and then back. Great job. Alrighty, you're seated in the chair. We're gonna switch to the other side, coming to the left side. If you're seated on the heroes on the ground, you can untuck those toes whenever it feels appropriate for you, or maybe continue to push and challenge yourself. Alrighty, we have that left knee down in our hero's pose. We're extending that left hand in front of us, and let's move through the fingers one at a time. Beautiful job. Alrighty, with our next inhale, you're seated on the mat on your hero's pose. You're gonna stay right there, but just come to stand on your knees versus kneeling on your heels. And then if we're seated in the chair, we're gonna make sure we're up at the front of the chair. And then we're gonna play with some half camel poses. So if you like to use a block by your heels, you're more than welcome to put some blocks on either side of your body. We'll inhale and let's reach our arms up and overhead, whether we're seated or on the kneeling. We're starting to look up to where the room and the wall meet. And maybe that's where our back bend stays today. Or maybe we start to take our hands a little bit further behind the head and let our gaze follow. Great job. Come back through the horizon with your gaze. And then let's drop our right hand either to our hip, maybe to our block if we're using a block by the heel. Or if you're in the chair, you're going to bring it back either onto the side or the seat of the chair. Now we're going to take a half camel here. So we're going to keep our left hand raised. And as we start to inhale, we lift our gaze to that same point that felt good before, or changing it. Feeling that arch as we press our heart forward, our hips forward, lifting our gaze, feeling that rounding through the spine. You're doing a great job. All right, let's inhale, bring the hand back to the hip if it was lowered, and then raise them both overhead. All right, with our next exhale, let's drop the left hand, taking our half canvas pose on the other side. Inhale back to a straight spine, gaze at the horizon. And now we're going to revolve that half camel. So we'll take that right hand to our right hip, maybe slide it across to the left hip, maybe drop it to the left side of our chair or left heel or block. And now we're twisting through the back body as we find our camel pose. Lifting gaze, pulling hips forward, lifting heart. Beautiful job. Inhale, back through center. Exhale, we drop the left hand to hip. Slide it over to the right side, finding that twist. And then inhale, heart opening, pulling hips forward. Revolving your camel. Beautiful job. Let's inhale to come through center. And then exhale, we'll bring our hands down through a prayer. And let's go ahead and come on up to standing for the next few poses. Alrighty, so standing in our mountain pose, we lift our heart, we equally distribute our weight between both legs. And then let's inhale, circle arms up, reach them up and overhead. And with our exhale, let's take it to a side bend, taking right hand to the prop or to our hip. As we hinge to the right, we scoot the left hip out. Inhale back through center. Exhale to the left. Inhale back through center. Exhale, we're going to cactus the arms and elbows, bending them at 90 degrees, pulling the heart forward, squeezing the shoulder blades back. Great job. Inhale, tall mountain. Exhale, drop the hands behind the back. We're going to take a bind here. You can grab opposite hands, opposite wrists, opposite elbows. You can simply grab your shirt, or maybe you grab that strap and bring it in between the hands. But whichever variation, we're really drawing the knuckles down towards the floor as we're lifting the heart, lifting the gaze, rolling those shoulder blades back. Beautiful. We'll take one last breath here. And then let's exhale to release into our mountain pose. All right. From our mountain pose, let's step our left foot back. We're going to step it into a warrior one. So we go back about a foot, foot and a half. We turn the toes to the side. The heel goes to the center back of the mat. And then we make sure our hips are in line with that front leg. And we start to bend deeply through that front knee. And now in our warrior one, our hips are pulling, our back hip is pulling forward, and we're facing that direction. We can keep our hands on our prop, we can bring them to a prayer, or we can start to send them up high in the air. Now we really want to make sure we're steady, strong here. So if you need to widen your feet placement, take them to the edges of the mat versus in a straight line. You're welcome to do that. Pull the thigh muscles towards each other. Engage the belly button towards the spine. You're doing a great job. All right, with our next inhale, we're going to straighten that front leg. And exhale, we're going to take our bind once again on the same side. Don't worry, we'll switch it up later. But for right now, we're going to take our bind on the same side. And then as we exhale, we're going to hinge over our pyramid front leg. Now, if you're noticing it strongly in the back of the knee, just add a gentle bend as you hinge forward. Now, you're always welcome to keep those hands on your hips or even lift them up just a little bit. Great job. Let's inhale to come back through our warrior one, bending through the front knee. Lifting hands to their previous position. And now we're going to revolve our warrior one. So we're going to take our right hand, the same one as the front leg. We're going to play the guitar down that front right side. And then we're going to take it to our hip. We're going to slide it over to the opposite hip or down the opposite leg. And we're going to, like we did in that camel, we're going to twist through the back body, sending our left hand over towards the right side of the room. Great job. Come back through your warrior one to release. And then let's step that back leg in and take that on the other side. So we are in our mountain. We inhale, arms up and overhead. Side bend to the right. Back through center. Side bend to the left. Back through center. Cactus the arms. Inhale, tall mountain. Now comes time for the funky bind. So taking that bind behind your back, but switching up which thumb is on top, or finding some way to adjust it so that it's balancing yourself out. Feel your heart lifting, feel your gaze, feel those shoulder blades opening. Great job. Exhale to release to your mountain. And then let's take our flow on the left side. So stepping the right foot back to warrior one. Inhale, sink it in. Take time to set up your foundation. If anything's not feeling right, ask yourself how you can make it feel better. And then simply take the time to do that. And that is always in any pose. You're doing beautiful in the strong warrior one. Our next inhale lengthens through that front leg and allows our hands to come behind us, taking that same funny grip that we just took in our bind just a moment ago. And then with our exhale, take it into a hinge. Hands can stay on hips or they can come up a little or beautiful job. One last breath here. Exhale, hands were lower if they lifted. Inhale, warrior one. And then we're going to take that left hand. We're going to play the guitar by our left hip. And then take our hand to our hip or slide it down that back leg. Over on the right side. As we take our right hand over to the left side. Twisting through that back. Great job. Inhale to come back through center. And then step it up. Great job. Feel free to take any movement you need here. And then let's take our right foot back, or left foot back, sorry, into a high lunge. And we're going to keep a bend in that front knee. We're going to keep a bend in that back knee. We can keep our hands on our prop, our hips, our prayer, or lift them up high in the air. And then from our lunge, let's take it into a twist. You can bring your right hand forward and your left hand back, or opposite. You can bring your opposite hand to your knee or to a prop, and then twist the hand back behind you. Great job. Inhale to bring it forward, and then step that back foot in. Let's take it to the other side. Lunge. Inhale, sink it in. Exhale, twist towards your front leg. Great job. Inhale to come back through center. Step the back foot in. All right, switching to the opposite side. Step the opposite foot back. We're going to set up for a triangle. So the toes go out and the heel comes right beside it. About the same distance as that warrior one. Front toes are pointing towards the front of your mat. Hips are open to the side. And as you're ready, we inhale to open the arms long. With our next inhale, start to pull your front fingertips really forward, as far forward as they can go as you begin to hinge. And with an exhale, we drop our hand either to the leg or to a prop as we stack wrist and shoulders in a straight line. Beautiful job. With our next inhale, come back through center. And then we're going to switch our foot placement. So we're just going to take that front foot, turn it to the side. We're going to take the back foot and turn it to the back. Now we should be in that same triangle prep position. And as we inhale, we lift the arms up to a T. We start to pull the front fingertips forward as far as they can reach. And then as they exhale, they find their home, stacking on a prop or our leg. as we create a straight line from shoulders through our wrist, and we pull our back hip as far towards the opposite side of the rib. Beautiful. Inhale through center. Exhale, drop those arms, and let's step it into a mountain pose. Alrighty, we've done a really good job getting it, those hips and glutes and legs all warmed up and ready to go. So now we're going to add a little bit of a balance challenge into our practice. So as always, you're welcome to come a little closer to a wall, or make sure a chair is nearby or another piece of furniture. You could also bring a strap for this one. I'll give a couple of different variations throughout this flow so that you can find the one that feels right for you. We're going to be working on our birds of paradise today. So as we inhale, we straighten up into our mountain pose. We shift our weight over to the left foot and we begin to lift the right toes off the mat. Now, if you're using your strap, you're welcome to wrap it around the ball of the knee or even under the knee. Or another great option for a little more stability is to come to the front of your prop where it's at a good height and you can step that leg somewhere onto your prop. So we have a couple of options here. Now, as you're settling in here, find a spot that isn't moving on the floor. Notice that you have a bend in your standing leg. If your hands aren't holding a prop, they could be on your hip or even extended out to the side for a counterbalance. And then let's begin to open that right knee out to the right side. If you are in a chair, you may find it easier to turn your standing leg to open it up. All right, great job. Let's come back through center and then let that foot come down. We're going to work on that same side again, but maybe staying right where we were or maybe going a little bit deeper. So if you'd like to go a little bit deeper, instead of wrapping your strap around your knee, maybe wrap it around the bottom of your foot. Again, you can also hold the back of your leg or simply put your foot on a prop extended in front of you. Either way, we start to shift our weight to the left and bring that right leg up a little or a lot. Leg can be bent deeply, lift just a little bit, or even pressing out to straight. All right, you're doing great. Now, just like with that opening, we begin to open the leg out to the right side. Lots of different shapes this could be here. You're doing great. All right, with our next inhale, bring the leg back through center. And just like that heron pose from the seated position, we're going to drop our prop or our grip and see how slowly we can lower the foot to the ground. Great job. Once you arrive, take any body movement you need, and then we'll set up for the other side. Shifting to the right, we begin to bend the left knee a little or a lot. When we have our steadiness here, our bent straight knee, maybe we start to open that leg out to the side. We'll inhale to bring it back through center and then release. All righty, so again, continuing with that same bent knee variation, or maybe starting to extend the leg out in front of us, we inhale, lift the same leg. Find your balance. And then if you're ready, opening the leg out to the side. Feeling a spot on the floor as a great place to gaze at to help with your balance. Beautiful job. Last time, last breath. Inhale to bring it back through center. Exhale, release the prop, slow, mindful lower of the leg to the ground. Beautiful job. Alrighty. If you're using a chair for your practice, you're going to stand in front of our chair. And if we're using the floor, we're going to bring our feet about hip distance apart or a little bit wider, the toes out and the heels in. As we inhale, we lift up into our tall mountain. And with an exhale, we're going to draw the hands down through a prayer and begin to sink into a squat. Now, if you have the chair behind you, just take a moment to hover over this chair. If you're using the mat, you can continue into as deep of a squat as feels good for you, or even put a prop under your hips here. Whichever deep squat here, just take 1 or 2 more breaths. And then when you're ready, we're going to find our way down into a seat, either in your chair or on the mat. All righty, from our chair, from our seat, we're going to come into a boat prep. So if you're on the mat, you're going to bring your heels in front of you and lift your toes up, extending the spine long. If you're seated in the chair, we're going to keep our feet firmly planted, but then find a little bit of a lean back. You can take 2 options here. So if you lean back with your torso, but don't touch the shoulders, you're going to call a little bit more intensely on those abdominal muscles. For another option, allow the shoulders to rest, but still engage the core. So whichever variation we're at, we're starting our lean back. Now, if you're on the floor, you can start with those heels down or lifted. And we're going to take toe touches here, whichever variation. So we'll drop that right foot and then the left foot if the feet are lifted. The feet are down, you'll lift, tap, set it back down, lift, tap, set it back down. You're taking this from the chair, same thing. Lift, tap, set it back down. Lift, tap, set it back down. So we really want our abdominals to be leading this movement, no matter where we're at or how much of a lean we're using. Beautiful job with these toe touches. One or two more on each side. Beautiful job. All righty. Inhale, come back to your straight spine, whether seated on the floor or in the chair. And then let's send our left leg out long. And we'll bring our right leg into a figure 4, flexing through that right ankle. And you can keep that right leg extended long, or left leg extended long, or bring a bend into the knee. You can lift the heart and lengthen the spine, or you could even hinge your heart a little closer to your shin, if that feels good for your body. We'll take just a few more breaths here, allowing this restorative pose to unlock and stretch that glute and hip that we gave so much attention to today. All right. If you draw your heart a little closer to your legs, go ahead and straighten it back to a straight spine. And then we're going to let the knees and this right foot fall towards the left side of the room. So if you're seated, it might look like a seated twist, and we'll inhale to twist over toward the opposite direction. And if you're in your chair, the knees are going in that direction. You can keep your spine tall, or you could lean it back for more of a reclined option. The gaze goes in the opposite direction. Noticing how that feels through that outer right hip and IT band. All right, exhale to roll through center. We come back to a straight spine, legs extended long. We'll bend the left knee, coming into our figure four, flexing through that left ankle. Now again, always welcome to stay here. Maybe hinge forward from this straight leg position, or maybe you bring a bend into that left leg or right leg, whichever was the extended leg. Again, straight spine or hinging forward, whatever feels better for you. You're doing a wonderful job here. Let's take one more breath. Your torso has been pulled close to your shin. Go ahead and inhale to lengthen. And then let's take it into our twist, taking that top foot over in the direction of the bottom, taking your twist however it feels good for your body. And maybe it becomes a reclined twist. Maybe it's a straight spined twist. We'll take one or two more breaths here as we notice how that feels through the outer hip, the outer glute, maybe even the IT band or the lower spine. Great job. With our next exhale, we'll come through center. We'll welcome to do a windshield wiper knees, left to right. And then we'll start to find a final resting pose. You're welcome to stay where you're at in your chair. You're welcome to take it into a legs up the wall position. Or you're welcome to come into a corpse or a constructive rest. Have pillows, blankets, maybe even a weight of some sort, or an eye covering. But allow yourself to start to create this incubated space for yourself with however you would like to. You're even welcome to move to a more comfortable place in your home. But as we settle in here, try to get really comfortable. Maybe even try something a little new today. Take a deep breath, allowing maybe the corners of your mouth to turn up into a smile as we dive into our guided meditation today. Today, you are here right now. And as you take that breath in, that slow, intentional, calmer, smoother breath, begin to notice the air tickling your nostrils. Noticing whether that air feels nice and warm in your cozy house. Maybe it's a little cool with the autumn crispness. Well, then begin to imagine the air that's surrounding us cooling off just a little bit more. We begin to imagine that we are outside on this crisp autumn day. The sun is smiling up above. And we notice it warming the branches of the trees nearby. You hear rustling noises far away. As you look in front of you, there is a curvy path full of leaves. That stretches out in front of you. Maybe your hands are in your pockets as you look around. feeling a sense of amazement at all the vibrant colors surrounding you. Maybe you're wearing a soft scarf and it's gently warming your neck. You look down and your shoes are covered deep in the leaves. Barely see them anymore. The nature around you looks happy and full of possibilities and positivity. The seasons are changing and the trees are preparing for winter. They are celebrating with wonderful colors to initiate deep sleep they will be enjoying during the winter. They have this entire autumn to prepare for that. Maybe you start slowly walking on that path in front of you, noticing the leaves crumbling under your feet. And as you look out in front of that path, maybe there's some woods or a forest or a field that is welcoming you with trees around it. As you look over towards those trees, you notice a fairy-like light coming from between the leaves of the trees. The pale autumn sun rays are all around. But wait, is that a table over there? It looks like one. Maybe you decide to go a little closer. As you get closer, yes, it is a small wooden table with a teapot on it. How crazy is that? Maybe someone forgot it there a long time ago. But is that steam coming up from the teapot? There is no way there is a hot beverage in there. But you decide to go closer. Slowly you touch it. The pot is hot indeed. And next to it, you see a small mug. It would be nice to enjoy a hot beverage on this fall moment in the middle of this beautiful place. Although there is no chair, maybe there is some place close by, a rock or a stump of a tree. You pour yourself a steaming cup. Maybe it's coffee, tea, or hot cocoa, or the warm drink of your choice. And as you sit down, crisp leaves rustle. The smell of the hot beverage reminds you of lots of happy moments in your life. The cup is warming in your hands, and you breathe deep and look up at the sky between the branches. The warmth of the beverage is going all the way through your body. And maybe you take this moment to feel grateful. For all the good things in your life and for every special moment that happens for you. Maybe once again you smile while you hold on to all these nice thoughts in your mind. As you look around again, the colors start to seem even brighter, happier, and more vibrant. Maybe you can feel the joy of every leaf dancing in the air on their way down to the big rusty leaf rug below. The atmosphere is lively, and the smell of autumn is invading your lungs. You could remain here for as long as you want. But you also know that you can come back to this place at any time. And there will always be a hot beverage waiting under that tree for you. You slowly get up, maybe cleaning leaves off the bottom of your scarf or your coat. You put the cup back and thank nature for such a hearty welcome. You keep in mind all the good thoughts, and you hold on to the memory of all the magic that happens each day. As you begin to walk on your leafy path and enjoy the area that surrounds you. Breathing in the cool, crisp autumn air. You slowly walk back on the leafy path, leaving this autumn forest and woods behind you. You slowly take the deepest breath of your day so far, noticing that cool air around you beginning to warm back up to the temperature of your current room. Your next breath fills the lungs with air from your surrounding space. And we'll move through our week, taking moments to open our ears to the sounds that surround us. Open our eyes to the sights around us, and opening our hearts to the little joys that are waiting to be found all around us and every day. And slowly start to wiggle fingers and toes and flutter the eyes open, as in your own time, in your own way, you start to come up into an upright position facing me. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a great week ahead of you. Thank you so much.